In this video, we're going to be talking to our youth work friend Emily, who is going to be sharing some of her story about self-harm, as well as dropping some incredible tips for how you could be dealing with self-harm yourself or how you can support others who are. Welcome back to another video in our series of Real Talk, in our safe space exploring the big issues of life and faith. We've had some interesting videos recently.
We have.
Hetty shared her story of anxiety. I've shared a bit about depression, and today we're going to be checking out what our friend Emily has to say about self-harm.
Yeah, we
which
are.
I'm really looking forward to what she's got to share, actually. It's really
good.
She's got a great story, really good story. Before we get on to that, we need to say hi to our community.
Yes, we do. So, first up, big question. Who was our first commenter
Our first
on
commenter.
our video?
Well, that was Toby!
Toby, again!
Yeah, Toby.
Wow.
Toby's always in there.
You guys are going to be quicker.
Always says something
Otherwise,
about
Toby's going to win.
anime and stuff.
Fair play.
Yeah. How's things been on Instagram?
Pretty good. Yeah, we've had some fun this week, and we carried on with our 30-day song challenge, and we've had some really good responses. So, Jamie, hi. Tegan, hi. They said some cool things on Instagram this week.
They have.
Yeah.
Apparently, if they were to go on a road trip anywhere, they would go to Wigan.
Wigan.
If you are interested in our 30-day song challenge that's been happening on Instagram and you're not on Instagram, you could actually just check it out here on our YouTube channel because it's there. You could watch. We've not quite finished it yet, but we're getting there. And it's been a lot of fun, hasn't it? Been really good fun. So we're going to be listening to what Emily has to say and some things that she would have said to her 11-year-old self. And so that got us thinking and got us rooting through our pack of rooted cards.
Rooting through the rooted cards.
Our cards from Scripture Union with lots of great questions that we like to ask. And we picked out a card that I think is really good. Our question this week is, if you could meet the version of yourself from 2 years ago, what advice would you give? Ooh. Good question. Why don't you have a think about that? Maybe even pause the video if you need. Have a think and post it in the comments, because actually, maybe someone 2 years younger than you is watching this video as well. And they'll see the comments and be like, oh, that's really quite helpful. Thank you, random person 2 years older than me that I've never met. So there we go. Our question: if you could meet the version of yourself from 2 years ago, what advice would you give? And we're going to ask our good friend Emily, if you could meet the version of yourself from 21 years ago, then what
She's
would...
not. Yeah, 21 years ago,
21 years ago, then what would you say? Over to Emily. So if you watched this video so far, you've probably worked out that we're about to talk about self-harm. You're probably fine with that if you watched it this far. However, if that is a subject that you're not so keen on, we should just warn you and maybe recommend that you go take a look at something a bit more lighthearted on our channel for now and come back to this at a time when you're more ready for it. Otherwise, do take in what Emily's got to say in her story, because it is super helpful and we hope you get loads out of it.
Right. Does my hair look okay?
Yeah, it's nice.
Thank you. Okay, my name is Emily and I live with Tabs and Hetty. I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I have two lucky ladies that get to call me a sister. I'm an auntie, I'm a girlfriend, I'm a Christian, I'm a granddaughter, I'm a friend. I'm a children's and youth worker for a church. I'm a speaker, even across the world. But I'm also someone in recovery of self-harm. A lot of people have said that I look like a well put together person and that they wouldn't have put me down as someone who self-harmed. But the question is, what does a self-harmer look like? Well, it literally can be anyone. Self-harm is when you hurt yourself as a way of dealing with very difficult feelings, painful memories, or overwhelming situations and experiences that are happening at either the moment or have happened in the past. Now, my story is this. I started self-harming at the age of 11, but I didn't actually realize that was what it was. This is because when people think of self-harm, they think of just one method, but there are various ones. Also, no one had ever talked to me about it, so I wouldn't have known it had a specific title. I just saw it as a way of it helping me deal with my emotions. I wasn't someone that self-harmed continuously. It would be when something difficult was happening, and that became my coping strategy during that time. The last time I self-harmed was at the age of 24. This may surprise some of you, as most people think that it's an age-specific behaviour. But this hasn't meant that I haven't struggled with the thought patterns over the years since. But I will explain something that has helped me understand my journey through an analogy of a netball team, and hopefully will help you in whatever circumstance you find yourself in. I think this is actually helpful for everyone, not just people that self-harm. So, think of your coping strategies as a netball team. On your netball team, you have 7 players on the pitch and 3 on the bench. And if we're gonna be honest, the 3 on the bench aren't the best players of the 10 in the team. Each of these players are one of your coping mechanisms. You are the coach of your team. You decide how to look after your players and which players are on the pitch. Good players, meaning good coping strategies, would be being active. We all know that that's good for our mental health. Spending time with positive people, spending time by yourself to recharge your batteries. For me, it's going on bike rides, and as a Christian, spending time with God. For others, it may be being creative, reading. There's so many different positive coping strategies. But if you don't look after those players or use them to their full potential, you need to bring on one of the players off the bench, which aren't good coping strategies. For me, one of them was self-harm. But then I would realize that that was a bad player to have on the pitch, so would swap it with another player off the bench. One of them for me in the past was binge drinking or overeating, all of which caused damage to myself. So my question to you is this: what are the players on your pitch? What are the 7 good coping strategies that you have in place to deal with the difficult situations that life throws at us? Are you looking after them? And which are the 3 players that aren't good for you, that you need to be wary of, that you need to look out as to that they don't come on to the pitch? I thought that I would write a letter from the 32-year-old Emily, yes, I'm old, to the 11-year-old Emily, that will hopefully help you identify different ways in which you can help yourself or direct others to. Let me get it out. Dear 11-year-old Emily, I'm writing this to you 19 years from the first time you self-harmed. I want you to know that the journey ahead is going to be difficult and that there's many times I would have done things differently in life and in my journey of continuing in recovery. I know that you didn't know at 11 what self-harm was and that it was a coping strategy for what was happening in your life. But I want you to understand that as soon as you worked out that it wasn't a positive way of dealing with those emotions and situations, you should have talked to a trusted adult. It took me a long time to work this out. Years. But I found an amazing lady that I was willing to share the good, the bad, and the ugly with. And in that, she was able to see the beautiful. At that time, I couldn't see it, and I needed someone to point it out to me so I could appreciate it and take my first steps into recovery. I want you to find that trusted adult, whether that's someone at home, someone in school, a youth leader, a friend who could point you in the right direction. You needed some professional help along the way as well. You had a lovely counsellor. You definitely shouldn't see this as a sign of weakness. In fact, I see it as a sign of strength. So well done to the future you. I want you to know that you will have the physical scars for the rest of your life, but the emotional wounds will heal, and they don't determine your future. You haven't allowed it. Have encouraging words placed around that will uplift your spirit. Pray to God as He's always there and will listen to you pouring your heart out, and there's no judgment. He gives you strength. I want you to know that you are a strong woman who is willing to share her story so that hopefully you can help others. You are brave by taking those steps to help yourself and others. I want you to know that you will still struggle with the thoughts of self-harm, but you are becoming better at checking on your team, your coping mechanisms, and asking for help and support when you need it. It all may seem a struggle, but take one step at a time. There's a film called Frozen 2. Let's just say I think it's better than Frozen 1. But there's a song in it which is called Do the Next Right Thing. And here are some of the lyrics. I won't look too far ahead. It's too much for me to take. But break it down to this next breath, this next step. This next choice is the one that I can make. So I'll walk through this night, stumbling blindly towards the light, and do the next right thing. Rejoice in each step you take on your recovery, as every step is a win. The next right thing may be hard, but I want you to know that you are a woman that people recognize as brave and courageous. So put that one foot in front of the other in taking your first step into doing the next right thing for you. From 32-year-old Emily.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that, Emily. It's so great to hear these stories of people that have been through the situations, but also have come out the other side and are able to live life and are still, yes, in that recovery process, as we all are with anything mental health related. We don't just be like, oh, it's gone now, great. But you're thriving in life and loving life and living life with this being something that has been a struggle in the past.
Yeah.
And so it is really, really great to hear from you. And I do wonder, because you have shared a lot of things earlier about things that people can do to help themselves, to help other people. I wonder if you could just highlight a few of those things just to make sure we've got the message.
Got it. The first one would be to talk to a trusted adult about it.
I guess, like, that could be anyone.
Yeah.
Like,
if you feel safe with that person, then you can share your story and know that they are a person that will be able to do something about it and help you in that like journey of recovery.
Yeah, so that could be someone at home, it could be someone at school, it could be any trusted adult that you spend time with, youth worker, whoever, where you actually know that you will talk to them about it and you feel like you can trust them with what's going on and that they might be able to help you. And you also mentioned a lot of coping strategies that you've used.
Yep.
Are there some that you can share that might actually help other people?
Yeah, so when I was self-harming, there are a couple of techniques that you can use. One of them is having an elastic on your wrist, which kind of just helps. There's also a fidget cube, so there's something to do with your hands if you need to. I love these anyway because I'm a fiddler. Also, there's some pastels that you can get, like calming pastels that you can get from like pharmacists, which take about 5 minutes to eat, which are really helpful because like you're having to concentrate on that, and then those 5 minutes actually should help calm you down.
Okay, that's good. And have those strategies changed over the years, or is that the same always?
Well, I mean, I've always got a fidget cube on me, but what worked for me when I was like 11 is not going to work for me when I'm 32. Okay, time changes things. So it's about constantly evaluating those coping mechanisms and going, actually, do you know what? That one doesn't work anymore. What else could work instead? That is a positive coping mechanism.
And if there was one thing that you could say as a final word of wisdom to whoever's watching,
yes,
what would you say to them?
I would say take one day at a time and take one step at a time.
Sounds good. Wise words from Emily.
Great, that was really quality what Emily shared. It was so good for her to make herself so vulnerable in order to tell her story and to share those tips. I thought that was great. I really appreciated that.
Yeah, it was good.
Really good.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to make mention of one of the points that she said. So she said to make sure you speak to a trusted adult. Now, we're youth workers that are often in schools, and at the moment we're not in schools. And so we can't really have that conversation with you like we usually can. So what's really important is that you find your trusted adult, whoever they may be, that you can actually speak to.
Yeah.
So messaging us isn't the best way to do it. Speaking to someone that you know, that you trust, is the best way to do that right now. But also, she mentioned something that is really, really helpful to do with what we've been doing lately. So Emily mentioned that listening to relaxing music can help to distract you. It could be that you listen to distracting music, not distracting music. You listen to relaxing music while distracting yourself in some other way, like fidget cube that she mentioned, or going for a walk or something like that. So what have we got to help them with this?
On our channel, we've been going live at 8 o'clock every Sunday evening with some live chill out music. I've been getting behind my piano and playing some chill out music live. which has been really good because we think it's important to know that you're not on your own and that there's someone there with you. And so that's been a really special time for us. But also, we hope that is helpful for you, because you don't just have to listen to it live and in that moment. You could listen back to it. And you don't have to just watch it as a video, because you're on YouTube right now and this is a video, so it is a video. But you could go to our web link here on our website and you could listen to it as just audio, and then you could turn your phone screen off or go to a different app or whatever you want to do, just to have it in the background to help you relax. Also, remember to subscribe to our channel just so you don't miss any of that, anything else like that. If you want to go and check out some of our other stuff on the channel, go and have a hunt around, see what you can find.
Yeah, especially if you need something a bit more light-hearted at the moment. Find one of our other videos that's quite fun. Yeah. And if you found this helpful, the video that we've just had about self-harm, then perhaps send it to a friend who might find something helpful with it as well, or give this video a like to show Emily how much you appreciate her sharing her story with you.
Brilliant. So we'll see you next time in our next video, another video in our Real Talk series, which I think will be really helpful to a lot of people again. Okay, so see you next time. Bye!